Welcome, everyone. Can you hear me okay? All right, good. All right, that's so great. Yes, it's funny how so many people came in as Walk Unafraid, and that's the name of my organizing business. So I must have messed something up in the creating the registration page, but it's okay. You're here. That's all that matters. I'm going to close that thing. We'll just give it a few more minutes for people to come in. Yeah, if you'd like, just pop in where you're tuning in from. Caitlin from Great Barrington. Tyrus, I know you're out in Southwest, maybe still? No, Ashland, Oregon. Nice to have you here. Thanks for coming on. And Terry is in Armenia. Yay. Armenia, New York. I always want to say Armenia because, you know, it's more interesting in a way. Even if it is wrong. And let's see. I am seeing someone that still says Walk Unafraid, and I don't quite recognize your face, so I can't call you by the correct name. I'm hoping you can change it. Sheffield, Mass. Hello. Are you able to change your the name in your window so I can have it in there? You just go to those, hover and see the 3 dots in your window field, and it should give you the option to rename. Yes, you. Or you can put it in the chat and I can do it for you. Ooh, ee, ooh, ee, ooh, ee, ooh. Susan has black glasses from Sheffield. Thank you, Caitlin. I will rename you from Walk Unafraid to Susan. More fitting, I think. Yes, I did a technical thing. Hooray.
One other person is in the upper right.
And upper right. Oh, yes. And the lovely person with the light hair and the cool red glasses. Could you put your name in the chat for me and I'll change your name too? No, not going to do it. You're muted, of course, too. So you can say as much as you like and I won't hear you. Do we still have some people in the waiting room?
Andrea Bruce is from Lennox.
Andrea Bruce. Okay, great. Hi, yay. Okay, good. Thank you. I will rename you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch.
Wow, you're getting so many people coming in. So exciting. All right. I see a few familiar faces. And if you see a number of Walk Unafraids, so those of you who came in and your name says Walk Unafraid, if you know how, you could change your name. Just go to the hover over your window, find those 3 little dots in the right upper part of your window, and then select rename in the drop-down menu. And then put in your real name and not Walk Unafraid, because, you know, I know that's not who you are. And if you have any trouble, I can always just do it from here, but it's a little more complicated. Because I'm ready to go. Are you ready to go? Who's ready to go? Yes. All right. It's so exciting.
Would you say that again, Gabrielle?
Oh, the directions?
Uh-huh.
Yes. So to change your name, you hover over the picture of your beautiful self.
Yeah.
And you'll see that there are 3 little dots, like dot, dot, dot. And the upper
Even if I'm on a phone?
Maybe. not sure about on the phone. But it's okay.
I-
I'll change you. I know who you are.
Okay.
Right? Forget it.
Thank you. Thank you.
How lovely. Okay. So I am fortunate enough at this moment to be sitting on a beautiful little settee in Southern California with this magnificent view behind me. We're at Westlake Village in a, what's this place called? A Four Seasons. You can tell, like, I always hang out at Four Seasons, it just comes to the top of my mind. And anyway, I'm very thrilled to be here. And the part I was actually going to say is that makes me feel very lucky is that I have my total beloved partner, lover, friend, co-adventurer running the tech with me, Dan Ruderman. So Dan can say hello.
Hello.
There we go. So,
Hello.
oops. Yes, good. All right, so I have my notes here because otherwise I'll just like spin out and never probably ever come back until like, tonight after midnight. So I want to first welcome you all for coming in. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for making this time on Sunday. For some of you, it's Sunday afternoon like it is for me here. And in, the East Coast, it's 6 p.m.-ish. So I'm just really thrilled that you're all here. And we may have some more latecomers, but Dan will let them in and it'll all be fine. So, oof, I'm a little nervous. And I'm definitely going to have to heavily rely on my notes because otherwise, like I said, get really off my path here. So as you noticed when you came in, there was like recording in progress. So that's really for my own educational purposes. And also for anyone who didn't make it actually into the live and who registered, I'll be able to share the link with them. And if anyone loves the juicy content that's going to be shared here today and you want to actually see the replay, you are welcome to ask. And I am happy to provide that for you as well. So as I mentioned, right now we are in Southern California, north of LA. And this was the territory of the Chumash people, and now obviously known as Los Angeles area. And where I come from is Western Massachusetts. Well, where I reside currently is what's known as Western Massachusetts, and it is the former territories of it's the sacred territories of the Stockbridge, Muncie, Mohawk people. Yes, so with great respect and love and gratitude, I thank the people who have stewarded this world and hopefully will have more of a presence in helping this planet further. Okay, so who am I? What am I doing here? And why did you come to listen to me? I will start out by saying that I'm a multidisciplinary visual and performing artist. I've been exhibiting and performing and have worked in collections around the world. It's been going on for, oh my gosh, more than 3 decades now. And I've run my own galleries. I've had galleries showing my work in other parts of the world. I've done residencies in Berlin and hung out in Lisbon, lived in Rome, and a lot of fun things, a lot of really great fun things. I played in a band. I played in classical music groups. That's kind of not even on my list, but it's coming to me. I recently completed an MFA in creative practice through Transart Institute, and thank you. And Transart Institute and Plymouth University in the UK, which was just an amazing experience. And I would love to share the story about that too, but that will definitely take me down a rabbit hole. As fun as that could be. I am a lifelong learner. I love studying all kinds of things, anything that kind of crosses my mind and piques my interest. So that can be anything from, well, music, art, to supporting people who've had traumatic experiences, to learning how to do new things, and so many things. You'll learn about these as I move along, so I won't get stuck here. That was my little keep going, Gabrielle. All right, so I also want to say that I am a certified erotic blueprint coach. This was another one of the things I recently decided I wanted to learn about and get into. And that was, the perfect thing to do during a pandemic. I started in the beginning of 2020, like right at the beginning of the new year and just before COVID hit. So that has been very useful because it has a lot to do with body awareness, somatic healing, and all kinds of things like that. Together with that, I also learned about accelerated evolution, which is phenomenal. And I'm also certified as a accelerated evolution coach. And what else? I already introduced my wonderful co-host, Dan Ruderman. All right, so now we are on section 2. Making this super transparent for y'all. No tricks. Okay, so this is really nice to know for me because I start all of my sessions, my coaching sessions, and my any kind of gathering with pleasure first. And just to let you know how this call will roll out, this is what you have ahead of you. So we'll start with a pleasure first practice, which really serves to help get us grounded and present. It'll definitely help me get present and grounded because I can feel my heart beating really fast and I'm like, ah. And then I'll do the masterclass content, the thing about surviving to thriving, and sort of my story in the process of that, what the main game changers were for me. Then there will be some time for questions. And then I will ask you to share what wins, insights, or learnings you have that came from this event and from this time with me, and from each other. And then you are certainly free to go, but you're also welcome and invited to stay on to learn, if you want, more about how you could work with me and what that would entail. So it's all about full consent and full transparency and making sure everybody has the freedom to do what they need to do, what feels good to them for taking care of themselves. Y'all with me so far? Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. That's so great. So, and before we get to the pleasure first, I will also just mention the container agreements, which also play a part in the group events that we create, as well as my my coaching or any group projects that we do like this. I am so thirsty. Container agreements, confidentiality. So making sure that whatever's said or shared today among anyone here is kept private, confidential. We don't go and share what we learned. Well, you can share what you learned, but don't reveal someone's identity if they share something that's very personal, just so it can be a more safe private container. Connection is really important. So that's your full presence and awareness. So then we get to all really connect in, and I get to really be present with you and vice versa. Care. So the care for yourself, that could be, if you have to pop up and grab some water, so that you're not dry mouth like I am at the moment. Feel free to take care of yourself. Care for others, as well as yourself. All good so far? Everybody good with the container agreements? Yes. Woohoo. That's so awesome. So that means we get to go into the pleasure first. Thank goodness. Pleasure first. So these can take a whole number of different uh, ways of being expressed, okay? Different formats. They're not all the same. And often when I'm working with a client, they just kind of drop in and suddenly I'm sharing a pleasure first with them that we both needed or that they totally needed. And I had no idea where it came from. So I'd love to say that I have like a really handy list of pleasure first things to do. That would definitely make my Virgo very happy, but that's not what I have. So we're just going to go with the intuitive mode today. So I'd like you to first, like, I'm going to take this off. I'll make sounds and get distracted. So just start with a deep breath. Getting present, getting really conscious of where you're at right now, in your seat, in the room, in front of your computer. Feeling your bottom supported. If your feet are on the ground, feel the feet connected to the ground. If they're sort of cross-legged, feel where they're touching the surface. They're also supported. Try to lengthen those breaths without forcing anything. Noticing what you notice inside and outside as you just continue to breathe. You can just breathe naturally, or you can slow it down if you wish. Noticing what's happening inside. For me, my heart is still beating pretty fast. It's challenging for me to draw a long breath because I'm still nervous. So you're all muted, so you could actually sigh as loudly as you'd like, if you'd like to. I'm putting my focus again back on my bottom, being supported in the chair and the seat. Feeling where my hands are touching my feet and the difference in temperature there. Feeling my shoulders relax. Just notice what you're able to notice, what the sensations are. Now, if you're willing to, just do like a slow, steady, quiet scan. Because this beautiful beam of light is just coming and melting down through your body, slowly making a scan, even slower than that. Just noticing how, if you allow it to, it can really slow things down, create more relaxation. You might, in the scan, notice there might be pockets of energy that are like still really doing their thing. Just noticing them, not making it mean anything. They're all allowed here. Slowly moving through your whole body, through your shoulders, through your chest, through your torso, through your solar plexus, through your abdomen, your hips, genital area, your thighs. Slowly scanning and noticing energy or relaxation, pleasure, discomfort. But just noticing, no judgments about it. No shoulds or coulds. Down through your thighs and your knees, your lower legs, your ankles, your feet and your toes. Noticing how you feel in your body now. How you feel in the space. And if you review this beautiful body scan that you just did, and you happen to notice any like nice sensation somewhere, some place that felt like really good, or even if you didn't notice the first time through, but you want to, I invite you to just close your eyes and just put your awareness on whatever feels good anywhere. It could be on the outside, it could be on the inside. It could be the temperature of the room. It could be something you're wearing. It could be a little tingly sensation somewhere in your body. So when you have one, just look at it and become aware of its sensations. What does it feel like? Does it have a shape or a color or a texture? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it, all these things? You don't have to work hard to try to describe it, but if you were to give it a few attributes, just think about that. So I'm having some challenges settling on one. So I will take the space in my chest, my heart. It's kind of warm and a little bit on the nervous side, but it's feeling really good. So now wherever that special place is for you, that part that feels good, see if you can expand how much space, how much sensation you have. See if you can expand that sensation to occupy more of your body or that part of your body. With each breath, letting it grow. Letting it fill your whole body. And if you're feeling really resourced and lit up right now, you can actually even expand it into the whole space that you're in, your whole room. You can expand it beyond your room if you're feeling really generous. You can fill your city, your state, and your country. And I know I could keep doing this for a considerable period of time and we would never get to the content. So I'm going to ask us to just slowly bring it back in. Bring it back in to your body so that you can again become present with where you are, being supported in this chair, being on this call with me right now today. You don't have to rush back in, but take your time. Noticing what's present for you right now in your body, in your space. Beautiful. And if you'd like to share in the chat how you're feeling, what's different for you, I would love to hear that. And change this thing. There, now I can see the chat. Such nice messages hailing from La Quinta. Jess, wow, you're not so far away, in the same state anyway. Eleanor from Massachusetts. All right, great. So what all are you noticing? Jess wrote, more aware of the edges of my energy. Ooh, nice. And Kaz wrote, mellow. Terry, centered and grounded. Yeah, me too. Great, thank you. So as you know, the theme for today, and Beth is getting grounded after a day of traveling. Thanks for coming on, Beth. Is going from surviving to thriving, how to build, how to create a juicy, delicious life, juicy, abundant life, whatever that means to you. So I think what I'll do is start with a song that I wrote. It gives you a taste of sort of the background I came from. So I'll just give you a little content warning. It's not a happy song. And maybe I won't cry. And if I will, that's okay too. So I'm going to put my words up here because sometimes I forget them and sometimes I don't. I must be invisible. I can't believe you can't see me. I must be invisible. I can't believe you can't see me. I am cutting myself. I am chopping my hair. I am starving myself. I'm struggling for air. I am pitching myself, medicating my soul. I'm failing in school, isolating myself. Can't you just see I'm screaming silently? Can't you just see I'm screaming silently? Can you please help me get free? Oh, can't you just see I'm screaming silently? Silently. He says no one will believe me. He'll kill my whole family. I can't tell a single soul. No, I can't tell a single soul. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know who to trust. I just have to get away. How do I send an SOS? How do I tell you? How do I send an SOS? You just see I'm screaming silently. Can you just see I'm screaming silently? Can you please help me get free? Oh, can you Thank you, y'all. Well, what a way to re-upset my regulation system, my nervous system. Dysregulate my nervous system. Actually, is it? That's the interesting thing about art and music, I think I've found, is that because I have that outlet and I can express that way, it's really interesting. It's almost a way to titrate the emotion back into my life, because I was definitely feeling like the whole story, all the reality, and then all the other people that have also experienced that and shared their stories with me about abuse and scary stuff that they've experienced. And then just the beauty of the music, right? Just the gorgeousness of the sound and all of that. And just knowing like that's actually not happening right now for me and for the people on this call. So I'm not as dysregulated as I thought I might be, which is a good thing. And if anyone else is feeling dysregulated because of that or for whatever reason, do what feels good for you right now to ground yourself. Maybe those deep breaths again. Maybe just giving yourself some compression or some love, some touch, all those things. Okay, so move around, do some downward dogs, whatever you have to do. Thank you for seeing me in that. Thank you for being here. Okay, so now on to the content. What do I mean by surviving? When I talk about surviving, going from surviving to thriving, it isn't just like life-threatening situations or like what I had in the song, or I don't know, actually I did have some life-threatening situations, but yeah, like we don't have to go into it, but there's sort of things that were out of my control, like, you know, carbon monoxide filled my house and I actually survived that, and different things like that. But more specifically, what I'm talking about for the case of this event, and then also like how it pertains to my life and what I do with other people and how I've like devoted my life to this work, is it's more specifically like the kinds of things that undermine our sense of autonomy and our sense of self-worth. So it for me include child sexual abuse, emotional neglect, domestic violence, financial abuse, poverty, eviction, really a lot of unhealthy relationships, codependency, all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm talking about like surviving things that made me feel unsafe, unloved, unseen, unlovable, dirty, humiliated, ashamed. Anyone have any of those experiences, any of those feelings show up in their lives? Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty universal thing, unfortunately. Yeah, and really anything that made me feel like my hopes and my dreams were like unrealistic or like wrong, definitely unattainable, pie in the sky kind of ideas, like that. Yes. I'm checking out some of these nice notes in the chat. Thank you. And okay, so conversely, for me, what does thriving look like? So for me, thriving means having the freedom to be and do what I want and where I want and when I want, where like whenever I want and for however long I want. And most importantly, often for me is like with whomever I want, right? I love connecting with people. I love being in the presence of people. I love deep connection. Thriving to me also means having the resources to do these things, and also resources to like hire assistants in the studio to help me with projects. like some of the people I have on my call today are my awesome assistants. And I love you for being here. It's so great. And they allow me, they help me get so many things done that I could never do on my own. And it's just such a gift. It's such a thrill for me to be in the position now that I can have paid assistants and they're getting stuff done for me and with me and together. And we have so much fun. And thriving means also being able to hire other staff to handle tech and promotion and bookkeeping and taxes and stuff like that. It allows me to travel. It allows me to, thriving is being able to create music, create performances, create art installations and experiences and programs and anything that I want to create, which is pretty amazing. Allows me to explore and to learn. I love learning. I just can't seem to get enough of that. And it also allows me to support people, to support others. I used to like do tons of volunteer work. And I would even like in my worst times when I was like struggling with money and I was so unresourced, it was crazy. And I was always giving and giving and giving to others and helping others, which made me feel good in a lot of ways, but it also really depleted me, or I was already depleted. So it was just like, it wasn't sustainable. I'll put it that way. So what else does thriving mean to me? It means having relationships that are healthy and fun and reliable and reciprocal, free and easy, deeply connected, as I said before, adventurous, and grounded in consent and pleasure. Does that sound like thriving to any of you? You like that idea for thriving? Cool. I like that too. And I like that you like that one. Excuse me. Okay, so how did I don't see there's any reason to go into any detail about all this stuff. I just like the sort of broad stroke stuff, right? That I've experienced, because we have a limited number of time and I don't want to keep you here all night. Well, I kind of do, but I won't. That wasn't our consent agreement. Okay, so how did I go from barely surviving to fully thriving? Well, I did not go from surviving to thriving overnight. No one single magic solution or person or moment where there was no special time or moment where everything shifted and suddenly I was like thriving, right? Like jettisoned right out of my survivor life, you know, like I can do this, I can survive it all, I can like handle all this stuff on my own and do all this stuff. But no, of course it didn't happen that way. I'm sorry. There's no silver bullet. There were thousands of micro shifts along the way. And some of you have known me a really long time. And in this call, I think the person who's known me the longest might be Terry. And then the next person that's known me longer than most people on this call is actually Tyrus, because we met in New Orleans many, many years ago. So yeah, like there's no single magic bullet. It's all like, shifts, slow shifts. But what did it take to survive all those things? Well, first of all, there is some kind of inner knowing that there is more to life than just suffering and struggling. And I was totally dedicated to figuring out what that was. Like there's just like, I can't give up until I figure this out. So I had a massive amount of curiosity. I relied on a lot of ingenuity and I became quite resourceful. And I pulled a lot of rabbits out of the hat. But I also was relying very heavily on my friends and my community. I didn't have family that I could rely on really in a safe way, let's say. So I didn't go that route. And, I had to rely on social services and stuff like that. Find free affordable therapy and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. But a lot of like everything was like a micro shift in the right direction. Like I knew that it was all possible to change it. But the real game changers for me, is this tracking so far for everyone? Are you sort of related to any of this? like the struggles, the challenges, the little micro shifts, like, oh, that's cool. I like that, right? Getting a little bit, yeah, cool. Yes, all of it. All right. I love that you're present in the chat. It's so weird that it's like everyone's muted, but I'm feeling you. I wish it were like in real life, so we have like real voices and laughter and stuff like that. Everyone's like, chairs are shifting and people are coughing and all this stuff. Anyway, it is what it is. So the game changers for me were like really a lot of mindset work, like really moving beyond affirmations and vision boards and writing stuff out hundreds and hundreds of times. Like I definitely did that, but it didn't really shift a lot for me. But being able to actually make discernments in the mindset stuff was really crucial. And I may be able to give you an example of that as we move along here. Somatic awareness has become really important for me in learning how to first notice when I'm really dysregulated, let's say, when my system is like sort of all over the place and I'm doing things that are really not serving me very well. So becoming aware of how things show up in the body. Let's see, pleasure. Of course, pleasure makes everything awesome, makes everything better. And I don't know about you all, but I know for myself, I frequently deny myself pleasure as a way of sort of like, well, I'll do that for myself when I've done this other thing. Anyone else do that? Yeah. And that's kind of like a no-win situation, I found, because there's like, it's a no-win situation, because like if the energy is down and the pleasure is down and you're dealing with this tough situation, it's kind of like there's no juice for being able to overcome it, right? So one of the crucial things I've learned most recently, and why I start every session, every practice with pleasure first, is so that we are resourced with a little bit of juicy energy that's there to sort of carry us forward and move things forward. So that's how that served me. Learning how the body and mind and actually spirit are all aligned and crucially connected has been super pivotal. And yeah, really super helpful. And then related to that is the emotional integration. So this process of understanding or discovering even how our thoughts or our feelings or our beliefs, our unconscious things, the things that like we're really not aware of, are driving the bus or taking over the wheel over and over again. And then realizing that those are charges that are held in the body and finding ways to kind of tease them out, untangle them, and neutralize them. It's sort of like, energy poles. Does that make sense at all to anyone, or is it confusing? Okay, good. So let me see here. How are we doing for time? 6:46.
Exercise.
Yeah.
Wants you to say more.
What?
Roz says say more.
Oh, say more about how I did this? Roz asks. Well, I'm going to show you. Might you play a game with me? You did all agree to come and play, yes? Oh, pretty. Now it's the game time. Okay, so I would like you to think of a time when you experienced shame or minor humiliation. For me, like one that frequently would come up, or that's useful for me, is having my card declined at the grocery store in line with a lot of people behind me. And I live in a really small town. So for me, I often knew the people behind me as well as the cashier. So that's the one I will work with. You might have something similar, or, there might be a moment where you felt, someone said something and you just felt really horrible, or the teacher called on you in class and you didn't have the answer or whatever. Okay, so does everybody have one? Yeah, just nod your head if you do. Yeah, cool. Yay. So I'm moving my windows around a little bit so the live video people are showing. And I'm looking at live people instead of still people. I love the still people, but I can connect more this way. All right, thank you. Here's the game. So go into that moment. I'll go into the getting my card declined again at the grocery store in the small town. And feel into that moment, really allow yourself to go back into that moment and be there in that shame or humiliating situation. And notice how you feel. Notice what you see, what you hear, what's around you, what the situation is, what your thoughts are, what's going on in your body. Do you break out in a sweat, or do you just want to crawl under the, do you want to run out, or that kind of thing? What emotion is the most present for you? So now I want you to take all those emotions and that awareness and really exaggerate that experience, really allowing yourself. It's only temporary. You don't have to be here long. I promise you, it's not going to hurt. Actually, it'll be very fun. So allow yourself to feel into it really strongly, exaggerate it, and make it as real and as strong as you possibly can, that moment in time. And then when it's as strong as it can go, freeze it. Just freeze it. Make a snapshot of it, okay? As though someone took a picture of you in that situation. And now hold it. Notice how strong that feeling is, how strong it got when you allowed yourself to get all the way up into that moment again. Now imagine you're holding a photograph of that incident in your hands, all right? Notice if it's in black and white or color. If it's black and white, turn it to color. If it's color, just make it black and white. Holding that image. Make sure you're seeing yourself in the image. So you're not just seeing the situation from your own eyes, you're in the picture. So black and white or color, doesn't matter. Now imagine that you take your photograph and you can just, with your brilliant mind, move it all the way across the room. So it gets smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes away from you. Good? All right, good. Now, just kind of play with it with your mind as though you can totally control this with your mind. It's really pretty cool. You can see it making cartwheels around the walls and across the ceiling. This picture, you're just able to control this picture and make it do all these silly things. You can even make it go up and down like a zigzag. And you can make it really big, and you can make it really small again. You can send it far away again. And then when you feel ready, just invite it back into your hands. Invite it to come back in. If it'll come, that's awesome. Doesn't have to. It might be no, I'm gone. I'm out of here. You don't need me anymore. Don't need me to weigh you down. And notice if you do get it back in your hands, notice what it feels like now. Notice how you feel about it now. For some, it comes back so tiny, and it's just this tiny little thing, and they're just oh, gone, it disappears, right? For others, it's if it's something else, another person, sometimes we bring it into our hearts, oh yeah, I am going to just love this right now and accept it, bring it in, it's done. Doesn't have that charge anymore. Maybe it does for you, maybe it doesn't. Would you please share in the chat what you noticed and how you feel about it now? And I would love to have some actual real voices say something. If anyone's willing to share, put your hand up. Tell me what you felt and changed and noticed. Any volunteers? Yes, Andrea Bruce. I'm going to.
Hi,
Hi.
thank you, Gabrielle. This was a great exercise, and it brought to mind when I was in the 5th grade, my teacher, Miss Hammond, embarrassed me terribly because I had a hard time learning fractions. And I was so humiliated because she just was saying how simple this was. And I was ready to crawl under the desk. I mean, it was so humiliating. And I've always had a terrible time with math since then, really. But doing this exercise, when you said visualize it bouncing around and cartwheeling, and then did it want to come back? It didn't, because I have come totally to the place where I accept that I do not understand numbers. I think I'm like dyslexic in that area. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay today.
Yes.
So that's my story. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, that's so great to hear. Thank you. Beautiful.
Thanks for letting me share.
You are welcome. Thanks for sharing. It's great. Anyone else have one to share? Please. I am so curious.
There's some in the chat.
All right, Caitlin. Oh, good. And there's some in the chat. Okay, Caitlin, go ahead.
Hi, there's a lot in the chat and I'm liking them. I want to do this again, like alone, because I felt like a little bit like, it's too fast. But the little bit that I did do, and now of course I'm thinking of 120 other embarrassing, humiliating, shameful
Great.
moments in my life. So I can do it again later. Yay. But the idea of it coming back and just being this little photograph, that's this light little thing that you could rip up or can blow away in a breeze, like suddenly that, for some reason, that visualization and that sort of like I cupped my hands. You couldn't see me in the screen, but I had them below. And I really was just thinking, well, what if I was holding this little photograph in my hands? Like, it's this silly piece of paper. Like, well, it's a fancy kind of paper, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's nothing. Like, it's really nothing. But the way I carry some of that stuff around is this heavy backpack with tons of rocks in it, right? Like, and this load and this bearing weight like hurts my back, but this is this ridiculously light. So that was delightful. It was like, oh, okay, if I could visualize all that kind of stuff as this little silly photograph, that I can make do things in my mind. And maybe instead of meditating, that's what I need to start doing, because I don't meditate so good, but I think I could do this fairly well more often. So that was very cool.
Oh,
Was that the magic trick you were talking about? Because
that was the magic trick. Yes, that was one of many magic tricks. But like, it's not even a magic trick, right? Because it's actually permanent and you did it. I didn't do it. You literally did it with your own mind.
Ross wants to share.
Roz, okay, let's see.
Come on,
Can you unmute yourself?
Hmm.
There you go.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me?
I can. Perfect.
Okay. So I loved taking my experience and having it transform into a photograph and move around and zigzag, and my mind was just having this experience dance in space. And yet after I had it dance, it came back to me, and I recognized I needed to love this experience. It wasn't something that I was that I could get rid of. It wanted my love, and it wanted my love and embrace and attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And how did that go? When you did that?
Well, I recognize it's needing to be loved for more than the time frame that we had.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you can spend some time with it and give it that love and integrate it.
Yeah, it's within me, so it's there being loved.
Great. Oh, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
you're
much for
welcome.
sharing.
Thank you. I loved the dancing though.
Yeah, dancing is fun, right?
Yeah.
And okay, anyone else want to share an experience that you just had from that exercise? I see some more people came on to the video again. Yay. Yes. Barbie, did you just put your hand up? You didn't? No? Okay. So I'm going to read some chat ones. Okay. So let's say, what? Yeah. It blurred into just warm, vibrant blobs of color and then very willingly melted into my heart. Oh, that's so beautiful, Jess. Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And Terry felt less intensity of reliving and all the triggers it tagged, and more of an observational as a memory and moment in time. Yeah. Yeah. So wow. Yeah, and I think sometimes it can be difficult to transform the feeling moment into a photo. And that is something you can play with imagery. Sometimes it works to work with it as just sound. Like if you're really good at hearing the person's voice say the thing, right? You can make that voice say the thing in lots of different ways, like a Mickey Mouse voice or a Donald Duck voice, or really fast or really slow or really high or really ridiculous. Like the whole idea is just to like have fun and play with it and make it different and realize that you are controlling that, and you get to it somehow releases the charge on the thing. It doesn't have you anymore. You have it. You're controlling it, and it's not controlling you anymore. And Dan shared, it changed almost the moment it became a photograph in my hands. Then it made me laugh when it bounced around. Yes, yes, yes. Super. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, so back to my notes, and it's now 7 o'clock, so it's been an hour, and I think we're doing great. Let's see. Anyone else have a question or anything that you want to say or ask, or want to get up and dance or anything? Bio break needed. Everyone is responsible for taking care of themselves, and you have full permission to do so, because isn't that grand? I love it. I love it. I love you for being here. Okay, so what you just experienced is a taste of how quickly we can integrate emotions and change beliefs about what we're capable of doing. And I'm just having this thought that I want to share with you, but I need to read my notes first and make sure that I'm not going to go too far off in a tangent. Okay. I'll share the thing that came in after this next exercise. Okay. So if you're ready, we're going to take it a little further. Yeah, we're going to take it a little further. You ready? So think about what survival means for you, or what survival meant for you at a certain time in your life. Again, it doesn't have to be a major trauma. It can just be anything. Just the idea of like, what did it take for me to survive my childhood, whatever it was, or my relationship, or whatever the things were, to get here now to be on this call, right? So let's just call all that like you survived a whole bunch of things in order to get to this call. Think about what those survival things meant to you, what it meant to survive. So basically, we're going to do this polarity game. It's another game, and it'll be pretty rapid. So picture in your mind, what does survival mean to you? Just feel yourself like in the presence of like, okay, I'm aware of what survival means to me, because here's a great example. You're all on mute, so you can just speak it into the air. It can be, a thought, an emotion, like just some expression that wants to pop out of you. It could be a movement, anything. Okay. Now take a breath and let that just kind of like go for a moment. Great, you're doing great. So now picture in your mind what thriving means to you. In your life, what does thriving mean to you, for you? Feel into that, like just let that question come into your chest, your heart, your body, your mind. And speak into the space that you're in. What does that mean for you? What's it look like? Just a thing. Then take a breath and let it go. Okay. Now, feel back into survival. Feel what surviving means or meant to you. And say another thing that comes to you. Just speak it into the room. No one can hear you, so I'm going to ask you to definitely just speak it out loud. Okay? Great. Now, take a breath and let that go. Now go back into feeling thriving. Feel what thriving means to you. Feel it fully, like what does thriving feel like? Feel it fully and completely. And just say something out loud into your space about it. Could be something you feel in your body or something you imagine in your eye, in your picture, something you hear, anything like that. Great. So take a breath and let that go. Now allow yourself to feel into survival again, what surviving meant to you at some point in your life, all the points in your life. Just feel into that really fully. Say something into the space about it. Great. Great. Yeah. Take a breath. And now I want you to feel both at the same time. I want you to feel into, try to do this at the same time. You feel into surviving and thriving at the same time. Take a big deep breath in. Surviving and thriving. And on your exhale, notice what happens between them. You may notice that they begin to merge together. They may still be separate. Whatever it is, it's perfect. Now, take another breath. Let that go. Go back into feeling survival. Feel into survival. Again, allow yourself to feel it completely. Let it come into your being. Become aware of it and just speak something into the space about it. Or it can just be a sound. It doesn't matter. And take a breath and let that go. Now feel into thriving again. Feel what thriving means to you. Feel what thriving looks like or feels like. Allow yourself to feel that. And just say something about that into the space. What are you feeling? What are you noticing? Now take a breath and let that go. Go back into survival. See what's still there for you when you think about surviving. And say something into the space. And now take a breath and let that go. And think about thriving. Feel into thriving again. Say whatever needs to be said or just sigh, whatever it feels like needs to be expressed. It's all perfect. And one more time, feel into surviving. Go back into surviving mode. See what else is there for you. Just speak it into the space. And then when you're ready, take a breath. And feel into thriving again. Feel what thriving feels like, looks like, smells like for you. Loving that thriving that's happening right now in your mind and in real life. Say something about it into your space. Just acknowledging it that it's there. Now, once again, feel into and feel at the same time, surviving and thriving together. Take a big deep breath in. And on the exhale, notice what happens between them. Notice if they have merged together. Is there some merging happening? Do you see them as two very separate things, or there's a little bit of overlap, or no overlap? It's just all the same now. They're separate. Okay. So for those, does anyone feel like they're beginning to merge? Yeah, awesome. Bree, Terry, great. A little bit. Good, good, good. Okay, we'll do one more round. We'll do a little faster. But now you know how to do it. Take a breath, let it go. Allow yourself to fully feel, as fully as you can. You're in your safe space right here and now. And we have this beautiful container that we've created. Allow yourself to feel surviving into your body again. Notice what's there for you. And just speak it out into your space. Beautiful. Take a breath. You're doing great. Take a breath and allow yourself now to fully feel thriving. What you imagine it to feel like, or what you felt in the past when you felt what thriving feels like. Really feel that and accept it into your whole being as a reality. Say something about it into your space. Beautiful. You're doing great. Thank you. Take a breath. Let that go. We're going to jump back into thriving again for a minute. What? Surviving? Oh, surviving, sorry. Yeah, surviving. Okay. Go back into feeling surviving. See what else is there for you. Feel into surviving. Just say whatever that is into the space. Great. Take a breath and feel into thriving again. Feel it fully and exaggerate it. Yeah, great. Say something into your space about it. Beautiful. One more time. Surviving. Feel into surviving. Is that right? Feel whatever left is there for you when you feel into surviving. Just say something about it in the space, or just make a grunting sound, whatever surviving needs to be expressed there for you. Great. Take a breath. When you've done that, take a breath. Allow yourself to feel thriving again. Feel into thriving fully and completely. Make it as real as you can, and say something into the space about it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now again, together at the same time, feel surviving and thriving. Try to see them and feel them again as much as you can, whatever's left, as strongly as you can, surviving and thriving. Take your big deep breath in. And on your exhale, notice what happens between them. As they're beginning to merge, are they beginning to merge for most people here? Have they merged completely? Like you can't really see a difference between them that's really noticeable.
To one time really fast.
All right, one more time, really fast. Yes, they're merged. Good. Great. Yes. Beautiful. So for those of you where it's already merged, because you may have a little more practice at this than others, or it might have just been easier somehow, allow yourself to stay in that merged space and just sort of soak in it like it's a delicious, energetic bath that you get to just relax in. We're going to do one more speed round, faster than ever. Ready? You ready? We can do this. Here we go. Feel into surviving. Go back into surviving. Feel as much as strong as you can and say something about it into your space.
Now let it go.
Breathe, let it go. Now feel into thriving. Feel into thriving, make it as real and as strong as you can, and say something into the space.
Let that go.
Beautiful, let that go.
Surviving.
Now go into surviving again. Feel surviving, what's there, speak it out into your space. Let that go.
Thriving.
Now feel into thriving. Make it as real and as strong as you can. Say something into your space about it. Let that go. And one more time. Surviving. Feel it fully and completely as much as you can, whatever's still there, and speak it out into the space, whatever needs to come out. And let that go. And now go into thriving. Make it as real and as strong as you can and say something about it. Now inhale and think about surviving and thriving at the same time. Feel them both at the same time. Feel them both, surviving and thriving at the same time. And on your exhale, notice what happens between them. Notice if they're coming together, if they're fully merged or partially merged, overlapping like a Venn diagram, or completely merged. If they're still apart, that's okay. Hmm?
You can spend some time later.
Yeah, you can spend some time later with it. If you want to keep merging them forward, you have the routine. So now wherever they are at, however merged or separate they are still, just be in that space or see them merged actually, because you're brilliant with your mind's eye and your ability to control things. So let's currently imagine them merged together, surviving and thriving. Sometimes for me, it's these geometric patterns that just sort of like stack and blend and come together, and they just become gray or something. And allow yourself to just relax in that space, feeling that surviving and thriving get to just live together with no particular extra charge on one or the other. They are just completely combined right now. Imagine being in a space of what that might look like. For me, it looks like being in this very glorious, spacious, open, light energy area. When I imagine what heaven looks like, it totally looks like this. It's just like pure golden light, energy, peace, tranquility. So imagine yourself there or wherever you wish to be with this idea of very merged and unified space. Relax in that. Now I'm going to ask you to imagine this beautiful, glorious field I just described, this beautiful golden expansive space That's pure energy, light and energy. It's clean and it's loving and it's vibrant. Imagine it just expands out around you in all directions, endlessly. And with your brilliant mind, you can draw it in to the center of your third eye, into the center of your head. On your inhale and on your exhale, totally expands back out around you. So you're inhaling this glorious, clean, beautiful, loving energy into your pineal gland through your third eye, and exhaling it out around you in all directions. And again, inhaling it in, expanding it out. Keep doing that for a few more breaths. You're doing great. Now, allow yourself to come back into the space. Notice what that all feels like, what you noticed, what's different. How do you see thriving and surviving now? Are they tremendously different? Can you access one or the other with your mind on command? Does one have more control over the other? More like there's way more control, way more desire for the thriving, and like a deep desire to like push away the surviving? Or do you feel like it's like, I don't actually have to really give it much importance right now because it just is? Where are you at with that? Anyone want to say something out loud? Caitlin, and please put it in the chat too, those of you who do not want to speak on live.
The thriving felt so good the first time, and then ever after it got like smaller and smaller, and the surviving became like this foundation. And like, so thriving felt like this, like, because I felt like growth and growing, and I was picturing like a plant, because that's like, to me, a thriving goes to plant, garden, what's thriving, you know, and it's reaching for the light and the sun and the moisture and the nutrients, and it's doing all the things down below too, but I was picturing up. But then surviving is like, felt like a bracing to start with, and then it became like more like a concrete base. And so it's really hard now for the two to separate in this weird way, because now I feel like thriving can happen on top of the concrete base, but I don't know how they can be together, like together. So because of my garden analogy in my head, my visual.
Right, the linear thinking doesn't really make it compute.
Not happening yet, but I like the concept. But then I got really lightheaded, and that was weird too. So I was like, okay, that's enough.
Did the lightheaded start when you were doing the expansive pineal gland breathing, or was it before that?
It was before that. It was like when they were trying to merge. Like the thriving was sort of getting overtaken by the surviving. Like the feeling couldn't get as airy and flowy as it had in the first breath and the first attempt.
Interesting. Okay, good. Well, you can still play with that and drink lots of water, my dear. Okay, good. Anyone else want to share for say something out loud? Let's see. Oh, yes, please. Whoa. Susan, you want to go first? And there's some chat stuff too.
Yeah, I reached for a pen and a piece of paper because I needed to maybe put a word, you know, the words down so I could see them. And at first I had really sort of very opposing kind of words for the surviving. It, you know, became like settling, and then the thriving became choosing. And I wasn't sure I could get those really opposite ideas. It took me a while, and finally they shared the same word, which was a kind of a cool thing. You know, I don't know if that was like what we were going for, to share the word with both, but they became like strong, you know, stronger word. You know, it became not negative, positive. It was more like, one of the words was brave, that surviving is brave and so is thriving brave. So things like that. It just, I kind of had to write them down to see it and make it happen.
I
That
love
integrating.
I love that. Thank you. That's really powerful. I love that you were working with words. That's great. Yeah. I'm being a visual artist, I'm constantly going into that, but I realize like a lot of people might actually be responding with motion and movement. I know Roz might, because Roz is a fabulous dancer and loves to experience things that way. So that's really maybe the modality that works more for Roz. So the idea is the same, and then the expression could be different. That's great. Anyone else want to share? We have some in the chat. Yes, wait, did I see Andrea and Eleanor's hand? Okay, Andrea first, Eleanor next, and I'll read some from the chat too, but I also don't want to run out of time. We are running out of time.
This was a really great exercise for me. And at first they were very opposed in the words were very opposing. And then gradually this inner child came to me. And I was just thinking about how that inner child was so neglected by everyone when I was, like your song, silent, just screaming silent. And the thriving, I all I could think of was forgiveness. And I feel that if I can forgive the past, I can forgive what happened, that inner child will thrive. And she has, she does, she thrives. So that was a coming together for me. It was very nice. Thank you.
Oh, good. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks.
for sharing. Eleanor, you want to share quickly and we'll jump into the next part. Then I have to let you all go if you want to, or you can stay on and listen to a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah, I had a similar experience kind of with the inner child, is like my surviving was very like, depressive and like not caring about much and not wanting to be engaged, and kind of like lethargic and not having a lot of energy. And then my thriving was like a lot of energy, like being inspired and all these like bright, colors. But then after going back and forth, like they kind of turned into like I just saw that my surviving is like a sad like child, and then my thriving is kind of like a motherly, like, or like just kind of like starting to like lead the sad child, like kind of where that the surviving was at. And then they kind of like started meshing together.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. That's great.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you. And a couple in the chat are, let's see. Fascinating from that exercise. I feel my eyes differently. Oh, wow. Yeah. Warm and glowing together. Really hard to visualize and feel the thriving. Not super familiar with that feeling yet. Totally can resonate with that. That took a lot of baby steps for me, actually, oh, what feels good right now on my face? Okay, I like my eyelashes, like really baby steps, like did not come in big, bold swashes. I love that survival is brave and thriving is brave. That's beautiful.
Mm.
And I came out of that with more compassion for myself in those moments that I felt powerless or felt there wasn't choice or a way to stand up and protect myself. Yeah, compassion is like so big, so important, especially for ourselves, especially. And Andrea, when you were talking about the inner child, like having compassion for that child that managed to get us this far somehow. And wow, yeah, really appreciating that inner child and that survivor, the survivor that kept us going to get here where we are now. So thank you all for sharing those things. I would like to, before we close out, there are two things I want to Well, one thing I want to say about that is just noticing that you can experience both of these things whenever you want, right? And you're not necessarily, you're not controlled by it. And that's like through this work that I have the pleasure to do, is we get to see that over and over again, like that we can control a lot of things with mindset, with pleasure, with somatic awareness and emotional integration. Like that is all the juice to do whatever we want to do and be whatever we want to be. And so, yeah, so you have that in you, you just experienced it.
Mhm.
It's fun going with these, the polarities. Okay, so I know I need to let you go, and I'm so sad, but before we do that, I love to get the wins, insights, and learnings, any like takeaways you have from today, from the whole thing that you just experienced. You can pop it in the chat. And I am also, if you do want to hear more about what I'm up to, and if you wanted to continue working with me in this way, you are welcome. You're invited to stay on, but I totally understand that we had you scheduled from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and that we are 1 minute away from that. So I won't take it personally if you need to jump off. You can always jump into, you can always get a call with me, to schedule a call, and we can talk more if you need to miss this next part. And maybe Dan will put it in the chat, calendly.com/make change. I think that's my Calendly link. Calendly.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be it. So wins, insights, learnings. Who's got one? All right. You can pop them in the chat. And
I have to go.
Okay.
Thank
and
you.
Thanks for coming. Yes.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Anyone want to share a win, insight, or learning? Let's hear some. Let's hear from some folks who haven't said anything yet. Terry. Yes.
Yeah, that was a really interesting exercise for me, because I always think of in the beginning of that, I thought about surviving and thriving as being two separate things, right? So surviving is that thing that when everything is overwhelming and you have to downshift, and working through shifting back and forth, there was a little bit of perpetuating that separation, maybe for safety reasons, and going, okay, labeling that as, and then seeing when you prompted that they could be joining, it kind of opened a possibility, and then a higher vibration, and like look at it like a bird's eye view and going, oh yeah. So it's very interesting to me, noticing now that surviving and thriving, I think of one as being a base and one as being expansive, but now I'm realizing that they're interchangeable, and that they're both bases, and they both can be expansive. And
Right.
so, I think I'm going to sit with that for a few days, because my brain's going like, whoop, whoop, like I
Yes.
hadn't really realized that before, but it's a really interesting opportunity that I was like, well, geez, Louise, like I always separated them, and I was like, I'm either doing one or the other, and I'm striving for one, and there's a lot of judgment in there. And
Yeah.
now I'm like, well, they're interchangeable and they're merging, and it's not what's on the bottom and what's on top. There is a very like larger, more perception thing of like transparency there, and
Yeah.
strength in both, and that can be malleable in any particular situation. So thank you for that. It's going to take me a while to kind of wrap my head around that, but that was kind of amazing.
That's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And actually, it's prompting me to, I do need to share this one thing that I wanted to share earlier, and I was thinking we'd have time. But here's the thing. One thing that was said to me one time was, Gabrielle, it was like a spontaneous thing. I said, yeah, Survivor is my middle name. It just came out. I never even said that in my life, in real life. Like, I didn't think of myself in that way. Although I guess in some senses, I was like, yeah, I can survive anything. I've got this. I have myself to rely on, and that's the only person I can rely on. Even if I am under-resourced and don't have everything I need. So there was some pride in that. There was some pride in being a survivor. right? There's some pride in being able to like handle things by the seat of my pants sometimes and pull rabbits out of the hat if I had to. But that doesn't, those abilities don't ever make me feel really nourished and well-resourced, grounded, and like able to just be like, yeah, I've got this. No, it's like, I hope I can survive this jump again. I hope I can do this again, right? So this turning point moment was when a coach of mine, these two coaches I had together, they're amazing. I didn't even talk about that, you guys, like coaching and how much coaches have helped me. It's that they said, what does a survivor need in order to be a survivor? I was like, I don't know. Shit to survive? They're like, yeah. Crisis, chaos, all that stuff. I was like, oh, wow, that's so big. What a realization for me, because it's like, I'm not going to call myself a survivor anymore. Like, I am not, right? Like, yeah, that's so true. Like, in order to prove my ego to prove itself right over and over again, it's like, you got to have more stuff to survive because you're really good at this. I was like, yeah, but how about thriving? That would be like way more fun, wouldn't it? So yeah, that was a big game changer for me. So other wins, insights, or learnings. Beth said, nervous system is much more soothed after these powerful exercises. It was a great way to get centered after being on the road. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Beth. And Rosalind, appreciate your sharing. Love to have tea. Yes, indeed. When more relaxed, insight, beauty of grounding yourself created a field for the group. Great. Yeah, keep doing those exercises. Does anyone else have something else you want to share before I let those of you who want to go, and the others who want to stay on and hear how you could continue working with me? Any more wins, insights, or learnings? Michael, thank you. And Jess, do you have one? Are you going to peace out?
Just,
All right, take care.
I was curious,
Calendly.
after you shared that, I was like, well, what does a thriver need? So they asked, what does a survivor need? And I was like, what does a thriver need? And the only answer that came was a desire to play. And I was like, yeah, I have that.
Right.
Okay. It's a
Right.
great place to start.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a great exercise to play with. Like, what does thriving look like? What do I need to thrive? And you can just do journaling on that, list out lots of things or sing about them or dance to them or whatever, however it's fun for you to come up with those ideas. Okay, so anyone else have one more thing to share? And then we will, I'll move on to the sharing what I have to offer if anyone wants to continue working with me. Because I don't want to keep you here longer than you are prepared to be here for. Tyrus, what are you going to take away from this event?
Oh, you wrote something in the chat, but you didn't see it.
Oh, sorry, no, I didn't get to see it.
But that's okay. Yeah, what I said is, like, I've been doing a lot of healing work, and I mean, coming from survival, moving to thriving is basically very accurate. And yeah, so I'm this is really timely for me because I'm doing a lot of this type of work right now, and yeah, I've really enjoyed being here and hearing your story a little bit more. I'd love to hear more of the details. And one thing, I don't know if there's time for you to share, but I'm really curious of, like, if you've studied some of the traditional trauma people like Peter Levine, somatic experiencing, polyvagal theory, and other people like that. So you're shaking your head yes. So I'm curious.
Yes. There's a lot of that that's gone into my studies as well. So yeah. I won't say too much about that right now, just because we're limited for time, but anyone here want to know what continuing to work with me would look like? What did Eleanor say? I can lift the weight I feel on my shoulders myself. Oh, that's such a great awareness. What other awarenesses do we have? I'm going to call myself a thriver from now on. I love that. So beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, timely. Very timely. Got it. Okay, so I will share. So I'm doing some coaching, as you can tell. I've talked about coaching. And right now what I'm doing is looking to fill 4 slots, possibly 5, for one-to-one coaching. And my one-to-one coaching will always entail pleasure first and other pleasure exercises, mindset, really working with you on where those places are, where you're still blocked, where you're still feeling a lot of challenge around what's going on in your life. So we can work with that together and really work on that emotional integration piece that we were working with these big polarities that happen. I prefer to work for 10 months one-to-one with a client. And in that 10 months, we do about 3 calls a month. They generally run from 45 minutes to 90 minutes. And you get the coaching around what you need during that time. And it is my absolute joy to connect deeply and really help people move through these things. Let's see, we are addressing the areas you're struggling with most, dissolving the blocks, setting you up for a path of creating a juicy, abundant life, what thriving looks like for you. And the investment for that is $25,000. There's a payment plan for $26.50 a month for 10 months. And a bonus, we have 1 VIP day, a full delicious immersion designed just for whatever is going to most serve you. If you have any questions for that, you are welcome to ask me, or you can reach out to me, or you can set up a call and we can work from there. Does anyone have any questions? I love questions.
Did you say 25,000 or 2,500?
For the 10 months, it's 25,000 because it's
Gotcha.
almost a whole year, and it's 3 sessions a month. And yeah, we work really tightly together in a good way, container. And the $26.50 per month, if one wanted to break it down over time, there's a payment plan for that. Any other questions? Any other takeaways you want to share? Oh, Beth is coming in for something. No? You can come on off mute, everyone, if you want.
I was just going to say, this was awesome. I just love those practices. And so
Thank you, Mama.
even though I'm familiar with them, I was able to, revisit some. I don't think I've ever looked at survive versus thrive. And so that was really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And it's fun to be able to work with any opposites that you're addressing in your life, or even just sort of fun gameplay, mind play, like, oh, how do I feel about life and death, or poverty and abundance, good and bad, hot and cold, ill and well, all these things. It's really fun to play with those.
Thank you so much for the evening. I'm going to say good night.
Yeah, you're
And
welcome.
enjoy your sunshine.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to go jump in the pool now. I was hoping to
Very
do that
good.
before the call, but Yes, we had some technical difficulties, so now I'll get to do it later. So I'm going to jump off, y'all, and I so appreciate you for coming. And please feel free to reach out to me if there's anything I can help you with, or if you have any questions. Okay?
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Thank you, everybody.
Yay. Thank you all for sharing. It was really beautiful. I really hope you will all drink lots of water because, you know, we just shifted a bunch of big things, and that would be a really good way to take care of yourself. Yes. Okay. I love you. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all. So good to see you.